So I guess I could ask if I wanted to make if I were to make custom characters that came from, as we get Cthulhu Eldritch Parasite 3 Custom Mysteries, that came from adult sources, let's just say, and they're not going to be too crazy. I mean, they have a story and their games are very, let's just say that the games they come from are very, very well known. But yeah, I'm basically trying to play it really, really safe as we move on to our next character. Question mark? Yeah. So, as we start off with that, and I'll mention a bit more after we get to the timestamp, just in case, but as we get into, I think it was, did I say Zektas? I'm just going to say Zektas. So, as we get into the Zektas Eldritch Parasite run, yeah, we do still want to go for one of the 2 damage spells, but yeah, I was planning, I think, well, I have to look at my notes just to be super certain of what I'm saying. Strength, second encounter knowledge, Takshisan, dexterity, and maybe a second mystery check, but yeah, basically characters that aren't crazy. It's just that the places they come from were still very adult. They were game. I think one of them basically game shows and IPs that come from sources that are not for kids for certain. But I guess we'll find out. And I hope that the robots don't hurt me too much because I'm just making a reference to custom content in World of Horror. Again, it's not too crazy. Trust me, I could go even crazier if I really wanted to. But I'm not crazy, so as I make weird decisions. Flood, mermaids, frogs, because we have 3 custom mysteries, taxi, and phantasm. So, floods, taxi, and phantasm seems to be where I want to go. I'll take phantasm first, because I don't have to fight the boss here. Now, we do lose access to the school to do our Eldritch Parasite stuff, but that's just the trade we make for the pain that we have to avoid. I don't want to take any of the other 2 mysteries because I want to save them for last that I didn't mention. Period. That's the end of the sentence. And speaking of Zektas, we need to increase our strength by 1 and dexterity by 2, at minimum. That being said, we don't have a single weapon, so I guess I will Witch Tree. Don't give me flashbacks, that's all I ask for. You can even give me branded. Got flashbacks. I mean, RNG. And if you haven't seen something on the other game I'm playing on this channel, yeah, RNG is certainly a thing for me. So we're gonna equip something. In this case, something is better than nothing, and that's because I saw a funny comment in the community. Well, it was funny to me. It was actually serious, and they're right about that. The comment was essentially, better to have a weapon than none at all. But that doesn't mean you'll be... In fact, some weapons are even still worse, depending on your situation. But it really depends. Otherwise, yes, it is great to have a thingamajiggy. By the way, also, some of my people might be asking, isn't this just a base character? No, it's a custom character based on a base character. But I'd have to take a look here. Let me check really quickly as I zip in and out between the game and not. Wow, I don't have it readily available. Sadness as we get into this encounter. So, yeah, we can't heal, so the curses that are healing my reason do literally nothing for me at the moment. But if we only take 4 reason damage, that'll be great. In fact, I think I can even do this. Never mind, I lied. Why did I thought it only had 8 HP left. Am I going crazy? I'm going crazy. Anywho, that's a lot of reason to take, but let me just take a look here. So yeah, well, technically one of them is from a game, but it's more like a... How should I say it? Animated visual novel. The other is certainly from a game, specifically an RPG Maker game, and the other one is an IP all on his own. So, yeah, that's what I mean. But I'm just saying, like, I know there are some NSFW, well, like, no more than a few. Period. Also, I need to take an actual, like, town mystery that allows me to visit the school, because otherwise we will we don't want to live like this. We don't have Akamanta, so I can take the Gruesome Totem and in fact equip it now. But Zektast is still hot on our tail. Now, Thotu Flame is a damage spell, but it's not one I want to use. You lose too much for each use of that spell. But there are moments in which it can be very, very useful. Especially if you're healthy in every single HP aspect, stamina, reason, and doom. But that's not the case here, so we just have to visit the History Club until we find something we can use. Protective Carvings would be interesting as well, but we really, really need a damage spell. Even though we have Flood, because we can't hit enemy B with it, that's why we got the Meat Cleaver. Well, that's partly why we have the Meat Cleaver now, it's nice. But as we continue getting drained of our stats, I mean, we literally have to sit here, otherwise we die. Flood on top of a reason encounter that slapped us is not gonna go well for the rest of the run, but I'll do my best. Yeah. I feel like it wasn't Zictast. I feel like we got Azal instead when I was randomizing our settings. But, I mean, at least this means you get another run. For those who don't remember or don't know, yeah, if I die before the end of the second mystery, I usually do another run. Now, I say usually because sometimes I'll die after the second mystery, but like in the middle of the third mystery, and then I'll do another run. Or if I just get salty, again. I try to do things that are a lot of fun. That being said, there are some not fun... Yeah, we're just gonna die here. I promise you, if you don't get either one, either spell, we die. So, yep, we're dead. Literally at the last history club, but we'll do another run. Zectast Eldritch Parasite is by far a normal run. That is one of the least normal, top 10 not normal runs, probably even top 7 or 5 that you can run into. I don't know why I set the settings there, but we now have a more normal run in Itho 2 Cult. Now, I would like to have had 3 custom mysteries. I mean, I'm asking for it myself, so if I didn't do another run with the previous character, or if I didn't do enough runs with the previous character, please let me know. Otherwise, yeah, Cult, by far an easier run to do. And Itho 2, yeah, the damage increase could be oof, but it's not so bad. And then, yeah, we have Masochistic and the Morbid Inspiration curses in-game. Don't hurt me, robots. Knowledge, second mystery, tech, especially robots now. I mean, I guess I should have mentioned that in another video. Maybe I do a second video. Charisma, second encounter, maybe strength in the same day. Another video in the same day, but we'll see about that. Because I am actually trying to pull full throttle, well, go full throttle on this. Basically, it's going to be a base RPG Maker MZ. Now, I know I've been kind of downsizing, but again, I probably should... Actually, no, I already did make the video, because the previous video was about itch.io and Steam. But to kind of extend on that more into my own personal circumstances right now, as I get Painting Vigil Nails. Oh, that's ugly already. Raven Shebas. Alright, well, just... I asked for it. What would I have gotten if I had 3? Labyrinth. Okay, it's a good thing we didn't have 3 custom mysteries, because Pain, and Pain. What I mean by that, we can skip the boss of Raven. Thank you, Haspen, for allowing me that. Sheba's is just Pain with the boss, and Labyrinth is certainly Pain with the boss. And then we have Vigil Painting, which takes us out of town, so... I'm shrugging real life as I say. We dodged a bullet by getting nails instead. But whether or not that's really going to be dodging a bullet, because of the RNG in-game, well, we'll see. Yeah, downtown for sure. If you see maxed out level downtown and you have the police station available, just put your police patrols downtown. Unless you're working with very specific custom mysteries. That's one of the only exceptions I can think of. But, and by that I mean you're not going downtown as much, but anywho. So 5 perception, 4 strength, we're going, well, we also, no, we don't have ward, that's right, because we are doing another custom mystery instead. Otherwise, we would have had a lot of out-of-town mysteries, but we're going to reroll here, and we're going to reroll. Oh, now the bad part about not taking the hospital pass, or it being present, is that you have less to roll from, but them's the breaks. Gotta get this army knife. So if we get out of funds, we'll trade off stamina, and off we go. But yeah, that might be a downgrade in terms of the game I'm working on now for commercial purposes might be a downgrade, but I'll try to make the best of it. Again, I don't want you to spend money where if you don't feel something is worth it, but it is going to be pretty much you're right, because otherwise the only other alternatives are crowdfunding, and I don't want to do that if possible. Although it's really, really tempting, but I don't want to do that because I still want to get... Either way, it's going to be counted as income. So for those who don't know, if you are offering any kind of service, I mean, from what I understand of the basically income law and just income in general and tax, at least in the United States of America, yeah, if you're doing anything for anyone who is giving you money, it's not a donation. It might be considered income. So it's like I would err on the side of caution. Nice 11 roll, by the way, game, of treating it as income, especially specifically self-employment income in that case. But again, it depends on your specific situation. I am by far not someone who is experienced in legalese. By the way, damage here, but we just have to take it in the face. Now we missed that. That makes me kind of sad, but we can still handcuff here unless I missed that. Okay, we're doing a 3rd run in the video. Maybe I go for ally attack. Maybe I do that instead, even though we have, I think, 6 charisma question mark. Herald exquisite taste random item stats. So that's gonna hurt me a bit more. But if we have no other now we can't run ally attack, or we could still run ally. I guess we'll find out. So exquisite taste. Herald, random item stats. So off we go. This is by no means supposed to be a long video, but oh no, we can't run ally attack. We only have 5 charisma. That's way too low for my liking. You can still try to run ally attack, but on exquisite taste as well, because you have to enable the schoolyard. Second mystery, light, dexterity, toxicity, charisma, and maybe a second encounter. But yeah, just to kind of rewind back, as we're probably taking like 3 stamina, 3 reason at minimum. Hold on. Do I just force hardware store? Let's see. I guess I'm gonna find out. Although that means, yeah, we have to tree for funds here, so curses galore, but shrug. But yeah, it's our RPG Maker MZ character, so I have to be really, really creative. Not that you can't be successful. In fact, I've not seen as many, well, obviously I have not seen as many RPG Maker games, especially on itch.io, but as we get Household Hell, Festival, Botanist, I think I have 2 custom mysteries only, Cult and Labyrinth. Well, we'll take Botanist, and Labyrinth's gonna be 3rd for sure. But yeah, I haven't seen as many RPG Maker MZ games that were just using the base characters. Again, I'm not saying you can't be successful with that. I don't remember my mysteries, by the way. I'm just going to put the police patrols in the school. And I can at least name one prevalent example. That's not many. And one prevalent example of a game that used the base characters and did pretty well. But obviously, if possible, you want to try to make your game as not RPG Maker based in general. And if you don't know what I mean, it's too much for me to explain in probably the time remaining, so all I can do is say I should probably refer you. I've not gotten a weapon yet. I didn't grab a weapon. I'm so crazy right now. Well, yeah, I can just search for any RPG Maker guide to making an RPG Maker game. 3 out of 5 of them will probably tell you to make your game as not like make it look as less like RPG Maker as possible. Now it can still have RPG Maker assets, not assets, traits. As Tataru flies closer, we're actually gonna fight this thing. Now I don't want to, but it's what we have to do. So yeah, they'll tell you to make it not look like RPG Maker as much as possible. Oh my goodness, okay, we should have just run from this. RNG for me and my brain, but if I had worked my brain better, we would be in a lot better of a situation. It was not flying closer, by the way, so if I had gotten burns there, I would have been really sad. Although, actually hitting 80% of these kicks would have been nice as well, but because even hitting 5 out of 6 does not count as... Does it count? Yeah, it counts. 5 out of 6 is more than 80%, but anywho. I didn't grab a weapon. That was my biggest mistake here. Welp. We do our best. We get branded as well, so now we're really missing Doom. So I guess being forced into the Witch Tree for funds was actually really, really helpful. But branded immediately proccing, but you know what? Hey, Eldritch Amulet is going to be a nice emergency heal, but yeah, that's all you have to wait for. Now, what kind of game I'm making specifically? I think it's still going to be along the lines as I run into 2 encounters in this forest. You know what? Funny enough, recently I haven't been, as we switch back to World of Horror for a moment, I haven't actually been running into 2 or more encounters in a forest mystery as of late. But now, when I don't have a weapon, the game decides, ha, die, Jordan, in the game. So, yeah, when we get to 6 HP, we'll just gamble here. I could have handcuffed this earlier, but I think there are better enemies to handcuff here. So, time to gamble on a 73.2%. Probably more than that. I always get that wrong. The calculation that is hitting 390% in a row. Now we're on the encounter lockout, unless something goofy happens. But we'd run into another encounter, but this is not a normal one anyway. So we take our 30% Doom or more and move on with life. By the way, we're on Herald, right? Yeah, Herald. But yes, I promise you're going to be seeing Raid, Priscilla, so on and so forth. But I'm going to... Obviously, you add your own touch to it. You don't just want to... Usually, you don't just want to make a fantasy RPG, hey, let's go defeat the Demon Lord. Actually, that's kind of what I'm making. But, as the prevalent... Again, I'm thinking of a very specific... Or I'm mentioning a very specific example that I'm not naming by name. We lost path immediately, by the way. But, there is a very good game that I think did well for what it is. And that's not like some kind of positive or negative comment. I'm literally saying it was a very short game. Well, not very short. Well, yeah, it was a short game. That basically used a lot of base RPG Maker assets, and obviously they added their own touch to it. Oh my goodness, I'm deciding whether or not I want to just do Labyrinth now. No, we do Cult first. And yeah, I think it was a good game, at least. But, anywho. Yeah, now we finally Witch Tree for fun, so we can grab a weapon. Blood Frenzy, which we don't want to keep, and Holes, so that's super stamina damage, but... No, we can't take extra damage right now, that's too much. And then we get a Carpenter Hammer, so... Fun times ahead. That does 5 damage, so Prep Strong, Prep Attack for 10 damage, but... We're low on HP at the moment, specifically stamina, so funny enough, the Eldritch Amulet is not what we needed right now. Shrug! So... We'll do our best to survive, but boy, is this going to be an interesting run. So... As we move on here, I should have leveled up. If I don't level up and run into an encounter, I would have been... Oh no, this is guaranteed. Doomed already, probably. First Aid would also be interesting, but we're going to fail more checks than we are going to run into enemy. Well... Either might be good. It's just that First Aid is more consistent. I just looked at the follower. That's why I stumbled for a moment on my words. I was going to say something else. I forgot. By the way, on a quick random note, at the around the time of this video's or by the time this video uploads, Against the Storm got its second DLC. I'm not going to be getting it yet because I would probably want to make videos before I get the DLC, basically. But anywho. Actually, can I just... No, I can't with 5 strength. I need 6 strength. Funny enough, I'm off by 1 time unit. So sadness. I mean, I could just do this, but for giggles at this point... Okay, good. And, yeah, the Carpenter Hammer can proc stamina healing, but it's not going to be the most stamina healing. But, okay, I might as well just continue talking. So, yeah, it's going to be a kind of mystery game. It's a mystery... It's a fantasy... Well... Quote-unquote, 66% of it is fantasy RPG. But it's overall still going to be a mystery. Sacrifice ally and run. Branded procking left, right, and center as we have 52% moving onto our third mystery is not great, but... Also, the Infested Girl is our second encounter. I remember that because we just happened to run into 2 encounters in a forest. It's funny how I remember things clearer when I'm focused on my unluckiness. That's not a real word, but I'm losing my words as we approach the end of this video. Now, I really hope it's not the actual end of this video, but... branded procking is sure a thing. Sure, I'm going crazy. But anywho. Branded on top... Like, Branded has Branded proc 4 out of 5 investigations in the past? 4 or 5 investigations? My goodness. Well, if you roll a 12, I guess it doesn't matter. So I did put myself in this situation. I really should have just rested, but I mean, why would I ever assume that this is the way I rolled? But anyway, yeah, the last question I would have had, I guess, before we end this here, is that, yeah, just basically if there's another place to store them. Otherwise, I mean, I guess I could always blur things on the repository, but... And it's not like I need to blur, and like, there's nothing graphically obscene happening. It's literally just the characters come from an IP that is not for kids, or it's for adults. So, yeah, without further ado, let me know if you have any questions or if you have any answers. I will see you in the next video as we get our 12 roll on strength, because